All right, so it's time. Modern Warfare 2 has been out for almost 2 weeks, and it's time for me to talk about the campaign. So, this is my campaign discussion. Kind of, I guess, my thoughts, and whether you guys should pick it up or not. So, mostly, y'all all have probably picked it up by now, I would assume. So, yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and do what I liked about it, what I disliked. So, let's get into it, I guess. So, first off, this game keeps the trend of what 2019's Modern Warfare included, which was a great realistic campaign that was grounded, that also gave you those elements that you loved in Call of Duty, at least the Modern Warfare series. You had the Modern Warfare 2 story beats of the original mixed in with a little bit more realism and added some more new kind of sprinkled in detailed plots that you wouldn't have found in the original Modern Warfare. Or you could say they rewrote some things from the original Modern Warfare that I would say are as good or a little bit better, I would argue. So, yes, great realism. Loved it. Number two, characters I feel like are given more ground to kind of breathe and given more time to develop, specifically Soap. So if you don't know, Soap is introduced into this game. He is brought into the fold as well as Ghost gets more fleshed out. Ghost has more screen time and more development in this game than he did in Modern Warfare 2 or the original, the 2009 game. And I mean, I think he's cooler in this game. I love Modern Warfare 2, the original. But like Ghost, in my opinion, is way cooler. It's just his character's more in depth. You learn so like the one cool thing about Ghost was you had this mysterious like badass that you really didn't know much about. But in this game, he's a badass and you know he is because he explains it. So it's really cool. Also, like I said, so Soap's introduced. Continuing with the trend of your character or protagonist speaks while you're in first person continues in this game. They also give you some speech dialogue options. It's not very well implemented as much throughout the campaign, but you get little sprinkles of it, specifically in this one mission that changes, that is way different than any COD I've played. And I've been playing Call of Duty since 2007. So definitely very cool. Excited to see if they expand these characters more either through Warzone or through another DLC campaign that's rumored, or just another game in general. So, yes, Soap. It's great. I like Soap. Man, I'll tell you what. Mocap is one of the best things to come to gaming. And I'm so glad at this point it's not just a tech thing. It's now in every game. Because it just gives you more immersion as these characters realistically move. What's really cool is that the characters and the voice actors are they're based off each other. I mean, the characters are literally mocapped, and it's very cool to see as Call of Duty, I feel like, is in an interesting position right now where you have 2042, Battlefield 2042 respectively, and Halo Infinite, which just flopped. They just, for different reasons that you can find on YouTube. And Modern Warfare 2, I think, just fills that gap because Ground War perfectly melds. And I don't mean to get into the multiplayer because that's not what we're talking about, but I'm saying they bring great things that I think Call of Duty is super successful because of the failures of these two first-person shooters that in their heyday were the pillars of gaming and first-person shooters. So it's very interesting to see that Modern Warfare 2, honestly, I think is going to reign king for its life cycle unless Infinity Ward just does something really stupid. So, yes, and I got off topic, but the mocap is amazing, and it's great to see that the characters are the actors, and you can see that in a live action trailer they did. So yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, the levels overall were really good. There was only like a handful, like 2 levels I think that I played that I really didn't like as much as the others. So, it's a Call of Duty campaign. You're gonna have things you're not gonna like, but with that, the campaign just had great levels. Like, I can't believe that this Call of Duty did something very different. Honestly, did kind of like I got Spec Ops: The Line vibes from this one mission called Hunted. It's a mission that I don't want to spoil because it's so cool, but it is so different from the entire game. It introduces like a resource management kind of thing where you're introduced to like materials that you can use to build pretty much guerrilla warfare style weaponry to help you survive until you can get an arsenal back like you are, because it takes away the one-man army aspect of Call of Duty, and it drops you in a pretty terrifying situation. So yeah, that, in my opinion, is one of the coolest missions in Call of Duty in general. I put it on the level of All Gillied Up, personally, because it's just so different and so cool. So yeah, there's that. Like I said, set pieces are great. Hunted is so interesting. And also, the graphics in this game are so pretty, especially for a Call of Duty. I don't think Call of Duty has ever been a pretty game. You've never really heard reviewers go, yeah, Call of Duty is pretty good art design and pretty. In this game, man, just some of the levels are so pretty. And you've seen the Twitter comments and stuff that are like, oh my god, they recreated Amsterdam. And they really did. It's actually pretty cool. You don't get to see it for long, but it's pretty cool. And it's so interesting to see how, like, Infinity Ward has created this engine that now every Call of Duty is using. And it's going to be really cool to see how better these games get, hopefully, as developers learn how to utilize the tools. Because I think Vanguard struggled with that. Vanguard did not have... I don't think they were necessarily prepped to make that game. And that's why you had the issues you had. So, yeah. So that's what I liked about the game. And overall, I'm going to be honest, I really enjoyed this Call of Duty. I think that everyone should play it. Whether you want to wait for a sale, because if Call of Duty's not your jam, I'd wait for a sale, because you're really going to want to play the single player, and if you're not a multiplayer person, well, at least you didn't waste your money on an entire game. So that's my thing. Now, my cons. The boss battle mission, which I won't spoil, is really stupid. I think it's so dumb, even for Call of Duty. The fight you do is just so stupid, and it's not like fun Call of Duty. It's annoying, and you just despise every second, because the mission itself starts out great, and then it just falls apart. I mean, oh my god, it falls apart. And so that's one of those. That's one of the two missions I did not like in this Call of Duty campaign. It just felt pointless, and I just couldn't believe that they made a game mission like this. Like, I think that the level design was just not very well done, and I wonder if it's one of those missions that they put in, they needed to fill the last act of the game, and they were like, hey, let's do this, and that's kind of what equated to the boss battle, and it's just not utilized effectively. And it's one of those boss battles where you're like, oh no, and you're just kind of bored or kind of annoyed with it. It's just, I don't know, it takes you out of the grounded COD campaign. So, oh my... I understand that armored enemies are kind of like introduced in the games, especially like Call of Duty, to kind of mix up the campaign, but they are overused in this campaign. I mean, they are downright horrendous the way they're utilized, because this Call of Duty, I feel like, it's so good, and then you're just going through the campaign. You're killing guys. You're having fun. You're with Ghost, you're Soap, you're Gaz, you're hanging out with Price, and then some fool with like 5 plate carriers walks in and just wrecks your body, and you have no time to react. And it's, oh my god, like, if they had sprinkled them in minorly throughout the campaign, I think it would have been a good difficulty spike to keep people kind of on their toes and on board. But they're just overused, because after they're introduced, they're used everywhere. And there's like some stealth sections where I think it's so stupid that they're there, because if you do not do these right, you will just be destroyed. And you'll do it like 3 times over, because you get so frustrated. So, and that's my issue with the campaign. That's my biggest problem with it, is the armored enemies I think are a great addition, but let's tone it back, and let's keep the difficulty spike where it should be at, but let's not oversaturate it with 500 of these guys wrecking you every time you get a moment to breathe. So, there's that. I said this in my original video. Not a lot of environmental storytelling was in this. Really kind of bummed. I was really looking forward to it, and it's not in this game. I'm hoping that they learn from that. It's in a handful of missions. It's in like the hunted mission I mentioned, because it has to be, because you're on your own. Like, you only have a communication line between a character, and that's it. But, You really don't. What another good mission is you go through the border, the United States border between Mexico, and you get to see some environmental storytelling with the civilians in the area. But other than that, you just, and like, you know, you have your stereotypical like, oh, here's a TV or a laptop where the terrorist is playing a video. Like, oh yeah. Like, that's cool, but give me some more. Give me some detail. Give me some, like, I don't know, homemade IEDs that are being made. Like an IED room where they're making IEDs. Or give me, like, their flag draped on their wall. Or, like, books they're reading. Like, to kind of tell me what these people are like. Because you really don't get the gauge. They're kind of just there. And then when they introduce the cartel part of the game, I mean, you don't really get to know them as well. Because they're just kind of there. And, like, I don't mean to nitpick this game. I just really love environmental storytelling, like you would see in The Last of Us, or even Halo. Like, Halo Infinite had some good environmental storytelling. And I just think environmental storytelling is key to a first-person shooter, because you are in the eyes of your character, and you're seeing what they're seeing. And with a game like Call of Duty, you can utilize environmental storytelling. They did it in 2019. That will just make your game even richer in story and environment, and you can feel and understand what is going on in this world without having to be told. Because let's face it, in movies and video games, we hate when they treat us like idiots, and so environmental storytelling kind of tends to that wound where they don't have to tell you what's going on because it's there. You see it, you know it, you feel it, and I just don't think they utilize that as well. And I'm hoping that in future Call of Duty campaigns, or just future Call of Duties in general, outside of Modern Warfare, that they utilize this, especially with graphics and engines getting better. I feel like we can build games that are more detailed and aren't causing frame issues. As you can see in The Last of Us, Last of Us Part 2 to be specific, and Last of Us 1. Or even like in a Call of Duty multiplayer map, like how much environmental storytelling was in the original Call of Duty maps, and even in the old campaigns like Modern Warfare 2, COD 4. So I really think that we can make that better, and also it will gauge interest for the players as they, you know, it is a first-person shooter, and we love to hear the voices, but you know, if there's just a moment where even a character like Ghost or Price is speechless. Because you walked into a room of civilians that are either on meat hooks or have been gunned down, and there's that one person left, terrified, can't talk, because the fear has overtaken their body. And you look around, and on the desk, there's a manifesto, or there's a book that has a cutout in it of some cash that was given because this is the cartel. This is a human trafficker who's trafficking dead bodies across the border or anywhere. And also, you could see a laptop that may have, like I said, a video of propaganda, or even like a dark web kind of thing. You know, that's a big deal right now in Hollywood and stuff, where the dark web is so scary. I just think if we utilize this environmental storytelling, we'd have great games. So that's really all I got for this video. Like I said, I appreciate y'all watching. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I'm really glad that some people find an interest and you take the time out of your day to watch, I'll say. And yeah, so the next video I'm going to be doing is going to be, I'm hopefully going to do God of War Ragnarok as everybody else is. I'm going to be doing a thoughts and discussion video. It may be a little longer form, like I'm hoping to get to eventually when I game a few more, you know, notches on the YouTube list. So yeah, God of War is going to be coming next. Like I said, I have a full-time job, and I'm also a full-time student, so I will be trying to post about 2 videos a week. One will be gaming news, and the other will be hopefully a review, or kind of what I'm thinking, Flashback Fridays, which will be me discussing older video games that I really enjoy or playing for the first time, or what I thought of them. But yeah, guys, thank you guys. Like I said, I am Uncle Mike, and yeah, thanks for checking out your favorite uncle on the internet. See you guys.